I'm going to be teaching you guys how to spot a crypto scam with 5 easy steps combined into the acronym above me, PPTCS. It's a lot easier than you think. Let's get into it. The first P is for product. Now, for the most part, there are a lot of different cryptocurrencies and projects out there, of course, so the product is going to vary from different projects. In this case, there are 2 different types of products we can look at. Number one, for a project that is promising some sort of product that it doesn't quite have yet. For example, let's say an app, or let's say some sort of decentralized application, or in this case, a Ponzi scheme, right? It could be where they're saying that you're getting a certain amount of return on your investment, and in reality, there is no utility for the coin. All it is just a way for them to pretty much prop up their own random coin in value. I'm going to be using Flick.io as an example for this. I was actually invested into Flick quite some time ago, I think in 2017, 2018. They were essentially promising this platform for filmmakers to post up their content, of course, and then get paid in their own coin called Flick. Now, in this case, I ended up putting my money in it, and it never ended up coming to fruition. But one of the main indicators there was that they had no product out. So they had nothing to show for it. Everything was, it's coming up. This will happen. We will do this. This is in our foresight future. They had nothing to actually show for where they were at that moment. Now, moving on to the second P, promises. Now, in this case, I'm going to be using Hex as an example. No, I don't think Hex is a scam. I'm only really using it because they have that one indicator on their site that is very shady to me. Again, not a scam. This is just a great indicator to show you what not to look for if you're looking for a project. In this case, they pretty much promise some sort of return on investment where they're saying, this coin will be doing, 40x in the future. They're talking about gains, and pretty much their whole website is all about how much money you could potentially make by investing in this project. Now, I know the creator Richard Hart has always been talking about that it's not a security. They made sure it's security proof. It passes the Howey test. I'm not sure about all those claims. I don't think it passes the Howey test at all, to be honest with you. Again, this is just my opinion, but that's one thing you do want to keep in mind, is that you do not want to see any project promising you gains. Again, BitConnect did the same thing. They're promising people 1% return every day on their investment. That's most likely what you're going to see really commonly, mainly these investment platforms that promise you like 1% a day, which sounds okay. Sounds like a low amount, but if you think about it, that's 365% every year on your investment, which is unheard of anywhere in any industry to be promising people that. Stay away from promises of returns on investment. Next, we'll move on to the T, which stands for team. Team, of course, is going to be one of the main reasons why you invest into a project. If they have a team, some projects don't have any teams because they're so decentralized, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, for example. However, in this case, we're going to be looking at Flick because their team was quite egregious. We have one founder, his name was Ryan, not really known, I think, in any case scenario. Honestly, he probably could have been just a fake account, a fake picture that someone took. But more notably, T.I. was a part of Flick, rapper T.I. Now, he was well aware that he was part of the project. I think it was one of the scenarios where he kind of got duped into thinking that it's like this next big future thing, and that he got pretty much just scammed into them using his face to promote the platform. Because that's partially why I was like, yo, this is great. We got a huge sponsor with T.I. over here. I mean, he doesn't know how to do anything, but he's a sponsor. Then, of course, they had the founder of BitPay at some point in there as well. But I don't think he ever had mentioned anything about the project either. So you had pretty much one fake person, one person who didn't know they were a part of it, which is the founder of BitPay, and one person who pretty much got conned into thinking he was a part of it, right? So at the time, of course, no one really knew this. However, that's why you want to keep in mind who the team is. Depending on what you're looking for, that's what you're going to want to be looking at. Me personally, I like to see that my team I like to see that the crypto that I'm investing in has a team of experienced developers. If not experienced developers, we at least know who they are. Obviously, the crypto space is very anonymous as a whole, and that's kind of what makes it so great that you have anonymous people contributing to large projects and really benefiting the project as a whole without having to give their identity. But at the same time, if you do want to seriously put a lot of money into something, you do want to feel comfortable with who's on the back end of it, right? Especially nowadays, 2020, a lot of people are kind of giving up their identities anyways. If you're going to run a large project, you might as well. But keep that in mind. Be very skeptical of the team. If you see that the LinkedIn accounts, aren't exactly legit, if you can't even find the LinkedIn accounts, if you can't find them on Twitter, then chances are you don't want to be looking into that project. Next, we'll move on to the C, which stands for code. In this case, code is just GitHub code, development code. How is the development going? When was the last time they made changes in their GitHub? Do they use smart contracts? Is it constantly being updated? Are they making new smart contracts? What is the actual roadmap looking like? Are they working on developing something? Are they developing something that doesn't make sense to be developing on? In this case, a whole bunch of questions there, but the main point is, can you find the code? In this case, I'm actually going to be using SmartKey, which is a project that is currently active. I'm not saying it's a scam, but I am saying that when I went to look at and see if they had any code available, I couldn't find it. If you can find it, please let me know down below. But to me, that's one thing that I don't like at all. Especially, these guys are claiming that they're able to essentially use their phone, or really an app that they're making, as a key to pretty much anything, such as your car, your house probably at some point. I think they're mainly focusing on the car, and have that connected to the blockchain somehow. So obviously, with all this crazy stuff that they're doing, you would think, okay, they probably have some code somewhere, right? It's nowhere. It's nowhere to be found. And obviously, I get it. As a company, maybe you don't want to be putting out your code there, and maybe it's not going to be as open source as some of these other grassroots projects are. But at the same time, they should maybe say that they're not following that open source policy, because I think for the most part, if you're in crypto, you're used to being able to see the code, the back end, what's going on there. And then lastly, we'll hit on the S, which is sentiment. This is going to be both sentiment in terms of crypto Twitter and in terms of articles you find and videos you find. Now, in this case, we're going to be using BitConnect, the infamous BitConnect. This, of course, was a scam, as I mentioned earlier, a Ponzi scheme that occurred quite some time ago. So many people lost so much money. And this, to me, is one of the main reasons. How is the audience treating this project, right? Is there a large group of people that are saying that it's awesome, it's great, and a large group of people saying that it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme? Obviously, this is a little bit of a harder one, because just because someone says something's a scam doesn't mean it actually is. It could just be maybe a ripoff. It could maybe that they don't think the coin is worth it. Maybe they got burned and they don't want people to buy it. It could be a majority of things. But the one thing to keep in mind is that you want to keep an open mind about the projects that you're looking into. Okay, there are plenty of times where you come across a project maybe that looks like a scam but isn't, and maybe after doing further research, seeing what the code looks like, seeing if they have any products out, seeing what the team has done before, as well as just seeing what other people are saying. Maybe look at some content creators who make videos like I do, right? What are they saying about the project on YouTube? Doesn't mean that what we say as content creators are 100% fact and true, but it does help you make an educated decision based on seeing the research that we do as content creators, and then you can obviously do your own research to further, amplify if it's true or not, or if it's an actual Ponzi scheme or not. BitConnect was one of the biggest projects that had a lot of people on its side saying that it was fine. A lot of people were saying that the people who are shitting on it are essentially just fudders. The issue with BitConnect was just the promises that they were making. As I mentioned before, 1% a day is not feasible. In a bull market, it is. In a bear market, it's not. That's why when you look at the graph for the BitConnect coin, you can clearly see when they went defunct, essentially. So I implore you guys to be very safe, and please take opinions, take what people are saying, and put it into consideration, and do some critical thinking about the projects that you plan on putting your hard-earned money in, because there's plenty of times where people have gotten rug pulled, especially with these new DeFi projects coming out, where they'll put their money into some sort of a crypto coin, and the owners of the project just pull all the money from it, essentially, and then you're left with nothing. So with that being said, that's going to be the 5 easy steps of finding out if the project that you're looking at is a scam. Let me know down in the comments below, have you ever been scammed before? Share your experiences down below so we can all talk about what's going on. I personally have been scammed before, the victim of a Ponzi scheme crash, but let me know that I'm not the only one, okay? Make me feel better. Comment down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.